Johnny's celebrating with screeches. What a header. Alan St. Maximum has just put Newcastle 1-0 up. Oh, yes. Great start. So what was the point in that? What was the point in allowing Shelby to run all that way? So everyone was half standing around, not knowing what's happening. Shelby runs through, puts it in the back of the net. I cannot see this being given, to be honest. Checking VAR. Checking VAR.
Must be closer than I think.
It's been given! It's been given! Oh, it's been given! It's been given! Oh, it's been given! What a fella! Oh my God! It's been given! Can you believe that? Unbelievable! Shelby coming over! People are kissing! People are going wild! Oh, I cannot believe that! Unbelievable! Oh, yes! Sheffield United fans are booing. Oh, what a shame. What a win for Newcastle. What an intro that was, lads. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live interaction preview show. We want yous involved if you're man enough to come on the camera and join in the conversation. And first things first, look how clear Johnny looks. Who is this new person?
I know, I've had a shave, a haircut, I look all right, don't I?
We can actually see Johnny for a change. So, Johnny, going back to Bramall Lane there, what scenes that was earlier on the season, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a great day all round, wasn't it? Like, we met up in Durham, just in the DL postcode, weren't we? And we met Paul and Rob, and it was good. It was a really, really great trip. Actually, it was one of my favourites. Nearly as good as Spurs, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fantastic win, and I think at the time we were just kind of going on a good unbeaten run. Really, when we, like I say, Dubravka was arguably man of the match in that game. If not man of the match, he made some fantastic saves that night.
I'm sure we'll be talking about Dubravka because he was meant to be missing this game a little bit later. Sam, how are you? You know, you've been a second dad for what, over a week now?
10 days, yeah. So I'm sleep deprived, but we soldier on.
Soldier on, fantastic. Well, it's good to have you back on the channel as well. There'll be a link in the live chat. There's also one pinned at the top if you want to come in and have your say on Newcastle United. We're going to be bringing this into our live reaction show about 5 to 10 minutes after full time. So if you want to, of course, get involved in it, this is the platform for you. Look at that. He's already getting a bit of love already. The stars.
Yes. Critically acclaimed.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Of our NFTV Extra. And you should see who the lads have got. Well, you can tell them who we got on Monday.
We've got a great guest on Monday. We've got the former England and cricketer who won the Ashes a few times, Steve Harmison, will be on the Greenwood and Mulliner show for the second episode. Massive kudos to Sam. Big Newcastle fan, very outspoken, which you want, don't you? And it'll be, I think we're doing it on Monday, so It should be out on either Monday night or Tuesday. I think we're just trying to sort out how we're going to do it, but really looking forward to it. I'm sure Sam is as well.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that. It's another big name on NFTV, so fantastic. Right, so as I mentioned, if you want to come on, this is the platform for you. Before we talk about the preview, I was on the news a little bit earlier, and this is what I said.
Newcastle United will step foot onto the pitch at St James's Park for the first time since a 0-0 draw against Burnley back in February. This obviously is due to the COVID-19 restrictions which saw the Premier League season halted shortly after Steve Bruce's side won 1-0 away at Southampton.
So, Sunday is approaching. Newcastle have their first Premier League game in almost 3 months. It feels like an age. The last time I was at an away game, which was down in Southampton, where we won 1-0 thanks to Alan St. Maximum. But the football is back. I've been watching it the last day or two. It is a little bit strange. I've watched a lot of Bundesliga games and now a few Premier League games. with the noise options, with the crowds. Obviously, COVID-19 has affected it, but more than anything, it's good to talk about football, in particular with Newcastle. A lot of the rumours over the last 8 or 9 weeks has been about the takeover. It'll actually feel good and a kind of like a relief to talk about football. Like, he played well, he wasn't great, Steve Bruce got it right, Steve Bruce got it wrong. You're talking all about that with your mates and stuff. I think that's what we're more looking forward to, and hopefully Newcastle do pick up another win. We beat Sheffield United earlier on this season. Why can't we do it again? Who knows?
Their opponents, Sheffield United, were held to a 0-0 draw in the league's first game back, despite being wrongly denied a goal. It's been an eventful lockdown for Geordies, with rumours swirling about a takeover at the club. But now the football has returned, can the Magpies pick up 3 points as they resume their campaign?
The ghost goal, of course, with Sheffield United against Aston Villa. That was a little bit unfortunate for them, but going into this weekend's game, the 5 substitute appearances that are allowed to make, it's going to be interesting. It will be interesting, but fingers crossed Newcastle can come away with it. But more importantly, football's back. But not like we know it, but at least it's back. It is back. Football is back, but not like we know it. Lads, how far are you looking forward to this Sunday, Sam?
Oh, I cannot wait. It feels like the start of a World Cup where you're waiting for the first England game. We've had the rubbish first 0-0 game, and then things are gradually getting better. Obviously, today's games were a lot better than the opening night, and now it's just all going to build up to Sunday. Cannot wait.
And that's what we're going to do tonight, building up. So let's crack on with it. Johnny, you're quite a big fan of Chris Wilder. So
I am.
Early on the season, you were actually touting him for the Newcastle job before Steve Bruce got it, and we were like kind of laughing at you a little bit, weren't we, in the radio show? But this is before tonight's games. But Sheffield United are still actually 6 after tonight. But what a job he's done, hasn't he?
He's done an incredible job, Lee. I think you look at when he first took over Sheffield United a few years ago, went from Northampton to Sheffield United, was obviously a bigger move, bigger step, bigger club. Got them out of League One, which is very difficult to do at the first attempt. Then got them out of the Championship within 2 seasons, which I think is a remarkable job. I think in the first 2 seasons, or the first 3 seasons at the club, he had 1 meaningless game as Sheffield United manager. I think it was the last game of the first season in the Championship where they had nothing to play for. So it just tells you the sort of job he's done in the first couple of months. But he's just took it to one more bigger level in the Premier League. I think if you take away how well Jurgen Klopp's done at Liverpool and pretty much won every single game this season, Chris Wilder, quite rightly, will be getting Manager of the Year. However, I think unless he gets into the top 4, I don't think he'll get it, because I think Jurgen Klopp will break, and Liverpool rather, will break that 100 points that Man City got a few years ago. But Chris Wilder's done an exceptional job, and I remember you were laughing at us when he was apparently second choice favourite for the job, Lee. So I hope I think he's eating your words a little bit.
I would eat my words if I could, but I can't. We've got the first guest was going to come in right away, UFC in a moment. So Sam, I'll substitute you first in a sec. But the job that Wilder's done, it reminds me, and Johnny's going to give us a little bit of stick because we're ages here again. But reminded me, remember when Ipswich came up under George Burley when they finished? It's a similar kind of fairy tale, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Almost hit the ground running, instant success, playing with no fear, which is exactly what Sheffield United have done. You can't, just fair play to them. They've been fantastic. Johnny's right in what he says. He won't get Manager of the Year because Klopp's Liverpool have just been head and shoulders and everything else above everyone this year. But they're not a team to take lightly, despite them not playing brilliantly the other night. I mean, they still should have won the game. But he's done fantastic. And it just goes to show that there's good, solid English managerial talent in the lower leagues.
I'll have to agree. Right, Tom, let's do a substitution. It's all football themed. We'll bring it in just a few seconds. So we'll see you in a sec, okay. Sam. And hello, Retro NUFC. How are you doing?
Not bad, lads. How are you doing?
Not bad. Thank you very much for coming on. You're a regular guest on Proudlocks and Sharky streams. So hi.
Yeah. It's a pity not trying to watch all the time, It's hard for being special needs kid with disabled.
Ooh, lovely noise there. Lovely noise.
It's all right. It's
How
for
do you
being
see the Nuggets
disabled.
game?
Yeah, it's been a good run. It's been half a me for being disabled to do
Yeah.
YouTube on my own. But it'd be a tough game on Sunday. I'm gonna watch it on my TV. Gonna watch
What's
it get back on the lads.
score?
I'm gonna say 2-1 Newcastle.
Who's scoring?
I'm gonna say Joe Linton and hopefully St Maxwell.
Whilst I've got you on the line as well, what do you reckon of Steve Bruce so far this season?
He's doing well. I mean, he's a manager who managed Sunderland, but he's come to our club happy. He's done a good job so far. He's got some good results behind his back, so he's a good manager. He's doing
And
well.
if the takeover happens, are you going to keep him on? Would you like to give him the job, or do you think you got to bring someone else in?
Someone else in, because we're someone else in, someone different, someone new.
How do you think that we're going to set up the setup? Because we're going to be talking a little bit later. We think the right hand flank, right back, and right midfield. There's two positions up for grabs. Who's starting for you?
I would say
Right back.
Shelby and
Right back?
Right back. Oh, right back.
I was trying to say,
I would say Ledlin for me.
And
Ledlin's quite fast.
Yedlin, who's playing right midfield?
Right midfield, I would say Amaron or Richie on that.
If he's fit, there is a doubt about him as well.
Yeah.
Well, if we get you on the live show, come on Sunday. If you want to pop on, we'll get you back on again.
Yeah, all right. I'll come on again.
Right, cheers, mate. Thank you very much for coming on.
You too. Take care, lads.
Take care. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Retro NFC. You're regular on all the streams as Johnny goes up and down. We'll bring Sam back in as well, and we'll carry on the preview. So, like Retro NFC, if you want to get involved, that was pretty easy one. It's not difficult to get involved. Don't be scared of us. Might be scared of the Brummy on the end, but the two Geordies. I want to move on against the game that they played against Villa. Obviously, we've all watched it because it was the first Premier League game back. And I wanted to touch upon how they set up. I'll come to you, Sam, for this. It's no surprise that they play the wing back system. Look, they're going to play that on Sunday. We know that. But there was a doubt over, obviously, O'Connell and Fleck missing. Fleck is probably going to feature on Sunday. But apart from this lineup, Fleck will probably come in. Do you see many changes? Are you expecting to see any by Wilder?
Just the obvious one. As you say, Fleck will come back in, who's a big danger. It's for a team that have just come up. It's quite an attacking 3-5-2. It's not the kind of one that we used to play at the start of the season, which was quite cautious and quite defensive and counter-attack based. They like possession. They went to Villa Park and dominated possession the other night. They coped fine at the back. Villa had probably the better of the play, but didn't really look like scoring. So they're a dangerous side. I mean, next season they'll probably, if they're playing in European competition, they'll probably finish bottom half and do absolutely zip. But for the moment, they're riding on the crest of a wave. They've got Lundstrom there in the middle of the park, who's, I mean, Isha's one for fantasy football, and he's one of the first names on the list because he's so cheap. But it's a good, solid, hard-working team that we've really got to prepare to dig in against. We've done it before, obviously, getting the win at Bramall Lane, and we've got to do it again.
I think there might be a change up top because I don't see Billy Sharp playing 2 in a week. Maybe McGoldrick might come in, but yeah, I think we know the system. But Johnny, obviously, you're a big fan of Villa, aren't you, Johnny? And you've got a lot of friends.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, it's coming. What did you make of them? Because obviously the ghost goal, yeah, it was a clear goal. We know about that. They should have won the game. But overall, the dominated possession, but didn't look clear cut for me. I thought Villa were the better side.
I don't think there was much in it between either side, if I'm being brutally honest. I think Villa probably had the better chances, if you're going to call them chances. I think they had 2 chances. I know Henderson did all right with the shots that they had, but I don't think Sheffield United were, or Villa, let's be brutally honest, I don't think any of them really wanted to play the first game back. I think if someone else wanted to play that first game, I think they would have ideally moved with them, if we're being brutally honest. But yeah, I agree a little bit with what you said before about Billy Sharp. I don't think it'll be McGoldrick. He kind of got a little bit of a knock towards the end of the game against Villa. So you might see Lee Mousset, who started off pretty well from the start of the season. He might come in with McBurney. I thought McBurney was probably the better out of the two. He's done all right since he's coming from Swansea, but I think you look at the midfield, and Sam's touched about it perfectly about John Fleck. He's been brilliant for Aston Villa there. Sheffield
Villa on the brain.
Exactly. I know. Ollie Norwood.
You're not meant to say I know.
Ollie Norwood is the one that I'll be looking out for if I was Steve Bruce. He's the one that kind of likes to make, set pieces, likes to keep the game moving, likes to make everything tick a little bit. It's going to be interesting. That's my only worry really with Newcastle on Sundays. The midfield. Do we get outnumbered and let Sheffield United have the possession? Because if we do, it'll be quite a tough watch. But who knows? I think I'm quietly confident.
Quietly confident. We'll come on to predictions a little bit later. We've got Lawrence who's going to come in shortly after the next question. But I want to come back to yourself, Sam. Dean Henderson, interesting. He was given man the match the other day as well. And he's actually got, and I was quite surprised by this, he's got the most clean sheets this season up there with Nick Pope, of all people. Do you think, obviously seen with David De Gea tonight, he didn't put himself in glory once again, but we're going to have to be busy to test him. Yes, I know we won 2-0 early on the season, but we're going to have to test him to try and score, aren't we?
Yeah, big time. He's going to be England's number one sooner rather than later because he's just showing real quality and real consistency and a real presence in between the sticks. And again, it's a testament just to how well organised they are, Sheffield United, considering they only play 3 at the back. They've still, 11 clean sheets for the goalkeeper. It's no mean feat in the Premier League. That's impressive. So I'm interested on Sunday to see how Joe Linton is going to cope with no crowd because rumblings are that we think it's a positive for Joe Linton, and fingers crossed it is. My concern would be defending from set pieces because let's not forget we're horrendous at it. We're horrendous defending from set pieces, so that's where I think the danger lies the other way. I don't think possession. I think their possession, how they like to keep the ball, probably suits us because, as it's well documented, our possession stats are pretty tedious. So it's not a big concern but the concern is set pieces because we've been horrendous. Thank you. We've been horrendous.
That's Fordy's new channel. I'm going to give him a plug. Fordy's renamed his channel to Geordie's Dance Off. So big shout out to Fordy.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Ford. So it's defending from set plays that we've really got to improve since this impromptu break that we've had because before then it was horrendous at the beginning and it's just stayed the same. It's got no better and that's the big change that needs to be made.
Fordy, if you want to come on and you can slag some players off because they normally tend to do well.
Come on, Fordy. I'll take you in a debate.
Well, come on.
Talk about Almiron.
Every time Fordy talks about a play, criticise him. Then the very next game, he goes and shuts him up. But before we move on to which players we'll grab out of Sheffield United's squad, you look at these, obviously, the stats as well. Johnny, how do you see the game going in terms of possession? Do you think Sheffield, because of the away game, I don't know how we won 2-0. You were there next to us. I don't know how we won that. We're second best. But do you think Sheffield United will come to St James's Park and dominate the ball?
I do, yeah. I do think they'll want to try and play in a little bit like the game at Bramall Lane. Like I say, we've touched about John Fleck, Ollie Norwoods. Lundstrom will probably get the nod over Sander Berge, who was a big money signing. But I think he's just trying to find his feet a little bit in the Premier League. But he could end up being a good player as well. But they do like the ball. They do like spraying it around. And they do like trying to create chances. We've always talked about their overlapping centre halves. If Jack O'Connell comes back in for Jack Robinson, which potentially could happen, I think he's 50-50 for the game on Sunday. Don't be surprised to see him do those sort of overlapping runs. But again, maybe you might see Steve Bruce match them. You might put an extra man in midfield and just tighten up a little bit, or maybe get Mickey to drop back a little bit. I expect Mickey to drop a little bit, be a bit more like the number 10. You might have to ask him to do a little bit more defensive type of work, especially in the first half, first 60 minutes. But again, Newcastle will get chances. Especially when you play three at the back against any team, you are going to get chances. Dean Henderson has been a fantastic goalkeeper for Sheffield United. I think he could be under Man United's number one next season. After watching David De Gea tonight, he should have saved Spurs' goal. But we've got to get the likes of Lazaro, in my opinion. I think will start Alan St-Maximin, Miggy, to give Joe Linton a few chances because, again, like Sam says, no fans, no pressure realistically on him because he can kind of go, right, well, there's nobody going to give me stick every 10 seconds now when I got the ball at my feet. So it's going to be interesting, it's going to be fascinating, but I've just loved to see Newcastle play some football, and it's been a long time.
It has been a very long time. We're going to make a substitution. Johnny will bring you in a couple of minutes. We're going to bring Lawrence in. Stay back.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring Lawrence in. Lawrence, how are you doing?
Hey, guys. All right. How are you guys?
Not bad. Thank you very
mate.
much. Lawrence is, again, a bit like Retro NEFC, all over the Newcastle streams, getting herself about. I can see you've got lockdown hair there, Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the game going to go this weekend, Lawrence?
I think 1-1 draw. I don't know if it might help that Sheffield United, actually the next few games, how we're playing, teams that have played this week after 3 months out. But to be fair, I think what will help ourselves and Sheffield United will have been the friendly games.
Do you think they'll have a bit more of an edge because they've had an extra competitive game than us?
Actually, in fairness, it could work in their favour or it could work in our favour. I mean, maybe might work more in our favour these next few games because we are at home, whereas Sheffield have had to travel to Birmingham and then up north.
And do you think that home advantage is key with no crowd? Because we've seen the stats from the Bundesliga where the away teams seem to be winning a vast majority of them. I think it's like, I'm sure it's in the 70s mark, 70% mark. It's ridiculous.
I think it could happen. But I just think our player would just need to stay professional. In fact, I think Joe Linton could be helped by fans not just knocking on his back for every mistake. And given that he scored in the friendlies, I think maybe he's in a 4-2-3-1. He could strike the role better. I would start him, especially as Dwight Gill's probably not going to make it.
Do you think Andy Carroll's a good option off the bench, though, if you need to change the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd probably have Muto on the bench since we're going to have extra subs.
5 substitutes is going to be interesting. I want to bring both of you in for this as well. This is the Sheffield United squad. Lawrence first.
Yeah.
Who would you bring in? Who would you pick out of Sheffield United in the Newcastle squad? Not necessarily the starting 11, just the squad. Who would you have?
Henderson would be good, but I'm fine with Dubravka. I mean,
it would be a bad backup. Keep in mind.
Who else is there? John Fleck. Who's it? Lundstrom, who I've got in my fancy team. I think he's down as a defender though.
What, in your fantasy football, is he?
Fancy football, yeah.
Yeah, he's down as a defender.
Yeah, but I'm hoping him and Henderson drop points because I've got them in my team.
What about because a lot of people have, and he's gone under the radar. He's actually Geordie. It's Chris Basham.
Maybe he could be good, but I think we're good for the defence.
Why are Sheffield United so high up in the league, Lawrence?
It's a bit of a crazy season. I mean, you could argue the quality just hasn't been there from other teams.
Interesting. Sam, who would you? Sorry about in there. Sam, who would you have from Sheffield United squad?
Not many. I think I'd probably only take John Fleck, and he probably wouldn't make the starting 11 in a combined team every week. The thing is with Sheffield United, it's a good collective team effort. If we go back to what you were saying before, comparing Ipswich back in the day, there wasn't really a player you'd say, oh yeah, we'd have him. I mean, would you have had Marcus Stewart over Shearer back in the day?
Definitely not.
I don't think so. And I couldn't think that, I mean, would you really take the likes of Mousse and McGoldrick over Joe Linton and Carroll? I'm not sure you really would.
Maybe over Joe Linton.
Possibly, but I can't see. It's more of a... They remind me kind of less of the Ipswich team Lee referred to earlier, they remind me more of the Reading team that came up with Steve Coppell back in the day.
Aye.
When they had,
Kitson.
Dave Kitson, Nicky Shorey, Harper, them kind of players. They
went
finished.
straight back down as well.
But yeah, that's the thing with them. There's going to be a few in there that get decent moves, but I think they're a good, solid team collective, which is epitomised with hard work.
I think Jason's just got his Irish hat on there, hasn't he? With Egan, I think. Former Mackham? Nah, Jason.
I remember, you know what it is? I only first heard of him, knew he was next Mackham when he scored an old goal when we played Gillingham in the Cup. It was a poor game, 1-0. I think that because it was getting brought up when he said, I'm going to get booed when Brentford played Woodson in the Championship.
Yeah. Well, I remember back in the day. Sam, you'll remember this. Michael Proctor scored 2 own goals in one game.
He did.
Oh.
Didn't he score 3 that day? 3 own goals.
He did. Yeah. The one was harsh, though. I don't think they were all credited to him, but yeah, he scored a hat-trick of own goals. Yeah,
that was bizarre as well. Before we change personnel around, Lawrence, just one more question then.
Yeah.
How do you think, who's going to play right back and who's going to play right midfield for you?
I think Manquillo right back. I might change to Jansen for the Villa game. Save Manquillo for Man City. I think right wing, I'd go with Lazaro because I don't think if Richie's not fully fit, don't play him when we've got loads of fixtures coming up. And with no ASM, if we play him too much, he'll get injured.
Okay, right, cool. Lawrence, do you want to come on Sunday in our live show?
What time's that?
It'll be about 5-10 minutes after full time. If you want to pop on, you know where we'll be.
Yeah, probably.
Right, no worries. Thank you very much, Lawrence, for coming on.
Cheers.
See you, boys.
See you, boy. Right, okay then. So we'll bring Johnny back in. Here he is again. We've got Scotty waiting in the wing. Scotty will come to you shortly. We're going to talk a little bit about Newcastle now because we've talked a lot about Sheffield United, and we'll just bring you up to speed with a bit of injury news thanks to Sam's tweet early afternoon, one time. So Newcastle, obviously, without the Longstaffs, Florent Lejeune for the visit of Sheffield United. Matt Ritchie is a major doubt. Dwight Gale as well. No surprise on Gale. Paul Dummett is not going to be available. Obviously, can't be registered. Kieran Clark is likely to be out as well. Johnny, I'll come back to you on this one. Out of those names I've just mentioned, who's the biggest miss?
Good question.
That's what I'm here for.
I know. Very good question. I think it's a toss-up between Matt Ritchie and Dwight Gale, to be honest. I think we've got plenty of cover in midfield and we've definitely got plenty of cover in defence. If you put me on the spot, I'll go Matt Ritchie because of the work rate and the sort of team up against it is very, very much workman-like, similar to like maybe a Burnley in the last home game, which seems like a million years ago now. But I'd probably say Matt Ritchie to an extent, but I think we'll miss Dwight Gale in terms of just another attacking threat. I think you saw what he was coming back into before the coronavirus came back in, and he was just missing a goal really, which is like every Newcastle striker at the minute. So I'll just edge it with Matt Ritchie, but only just over Gale.
So it doesn't look like Scotty's available. I think he's got his camera on, but I don't know if he's at his screen. So we'll move on. We'll talk about asked you lads in the chat earlier on. Sam, we all agreed that predominantly we think those 9 that are selected are going to be starting in a 4-2-3-1 because we've seen it in the 3 friendlies that Bruce has had, the first team against the first team, and then the 2 friendlies as well. That's going to be 4-2-3-1. So if he does, who's playing right back for you first and why?
It's got to be Manquillo, I would have thought, because purely on form over the past sort of 12, 18 months, he's been the best out of the 3 or 4 if you include Lazaro, but we know, especially after that Arsenal game, he's not a right back. I would go for Manquillo. I mean, the only thing that kind of plays in the back of my mind with that is after David Luiz's nightmare the other night and he's blamed his contract. Could Manquillo do the same because his contract's not completely sorted yet?
But, he was man enough to come out and speak to the cameras and say, hey, it was my fault.
Yeah, there is that. He's a character, David Luiz, isn't he? But it's probably an evening he wants to forget very quickly. But no, right back is Manquillo. I mean, he surprised me. I had my head in my hand when we signed him. I thought, what was Rafa doing? But fair play, he's been an absolute bonus. And I mean, we've tried to solve right back so many times, and he's the solution going forward, I think.
And who plays in right midfield for you?
If fit, I would start Richie and bring Lazaro on after an hour, but it's looking like, Lazaro will probably start. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Muto given some game time over the next 2 games.
Why doesn't he start? Because you could alternate Almiron and Mutu in those right-sided or central attacking midfield, couldn't you?
I don't think so. I mean, you could, but I don't think that would happen. So for the opening game.
Johnny, who plays right back for you?
I've got to agree with Mr. Milner, which I didn't think I'd have to. But yeah, I'd have to go Manquillo. I've never really been a fan of Manquillo, but he has had his moments this season. I just don't think our fullbacks really give anything going forward, which is a real shame, because I think if one of them was to be a little bit better going forward, I think they'd be hands down the best right back at Newcastle, in my personal opinion. I think Yedlin defensively is not as good as Manquillo, and I think that's why he gets the nod and he's a bit more reliable. I don't think like I say, the overlapping centre halves worries me a little bit with your fullbacks, but Manquillo would get the nod over me just to be a bit more of a safer bet, really. And he has played a lot more in the games against the likes of Middlesbrough and Hull. Has predominantly been as the first choice right back. Yedlin we're seeing sometimes go a little bit further forward. So I think he trusts Manquillo more, does Steve Bruce. Yeah,
Yedlin played the full 90 though last time out, didn't he? So, and who plays further up?
This is where I disagree with Mr. Milner. I think Lazaro. I think Lazaro will start. You got to remember, like the last couple of games he played, he was kind of, showing what he was a little bit about against West Brom and Southampton. Obviously, Lee, you would have seen him at Southampton. He was a little bit better. He was just kind of showing what he can actually do going forward, because right back was never his position, or right wing back for that matter. So going forward, I'd start Lazaro. I think I would even start Lazaro even if Richie was fit, to be honest. But I think if Lazaro can support Joe Linton with just anything like crosses, trying to get him shots on goal, that will help both of them with confidence going forward.
Well, it's down to Joe Linton to try and get further up the field, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll make another sub, Sam. We'll drop you out, and we're going to bring in Scotty. Okie dokie, Scotty. Are you ready? Hiya, Scotty. Thanks for coming on. How are you doing? Are you ready? Hi. Can you hear us? You're very quiet.
Hi. Yeah. I'm here.
Oh, you can hear us. Come on, then.
Yeah,
we're going to win this Sunday.
Yeah. I think we're going to win. Yeah, definitely.
Who's scoring? What's the score?
Well, I would say it's like 2-1, which I would say like Joe Linton and Andy Carroll will be scoring.
And how are we going to set up? Do you agree with the same formation? And who plays right back and right midfield for you?
Yeah, I would say like Manquillo would be starting. Yeah, and Lazaro at the wing. Just like the Manquillo contract situation, but
Whilst I've got you here, any 29 lad, because Johnny's doesn't shut up about it. Matty's obviously extended his contract slightly for an extra month. Is that positive news? Do you think that'll then lead into a 5-year deal or whatever? Or are you still a bit worried about Matty?
Oh, I hope it leads into a 5-year deal.
Because if he was off, and wouldn't you not sign that contract extension?
Well, if he's loyal to the club as he says he is, he will sign that 5-year contract.
And if the takeover happens, fingers crossed, does Steve Bruce keep his job for you?
I would say I'd give him a little bit of a chance. Let him prove himself if he is worthy. If he doesn't live up to that, then bring Poch in.
What if Steve Bruce, right? Both of you can answer this. What if Steve Bruce goes and wins the FA Cup? Do you know he'll be the most successful manager the last 50 years, 51 year?
It'll stop people like you laughing at me when I was saying we need a manager.
That'll be a bit of a joke as well.
I would absolutely win the FA Cup.
I think social distancing might go out a little bit of the window if Newcastle were to do that, which is understandable as well. Scotty, thank you very much for coming on. If you want to pop on Sunday, we'll get you in the live show straight after full time.
Yeah, cheers for having us on here, and I'll hopefully be on there.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Scott.
Cheers, mate.
So we'll bring Sam back in as well, and we've also got Stephen. I can see you hanging in the background. We'll bring you in a few minutes, Stephen. But we're going to move on to the next part. Hey, it's easy to come on. There was a bit of a lag there, but, everyone's been talking well tonight. We'll love to get some more new faces on the show, so please pop up. Right, Martin Dubravka. Sam, I'll come to you on this one. Because he's not meant to be playing this game, so I'll be very fortunate, yeah.
We absolutely are. I mean, to be fair, I don't mind Darlow. I've always said I don't mind Darlow. I think for a backup keeper, he's very solid. Would you want him a full season in the Premier League? Probably not. But yeah, Dubravka's been our player of the season by an absolute country mile. It's an absolute bonus that he's back, especially for the FA Cup game in a few weeks. How many points has he added to our total alone this season by keeping us in games? And even when games haven't gone our way, he's kept the score to a respectable level. So it's a huge bonus. And yeah, it gives us all a bit of extra confidence seeing him in goal.
I think it does, because I know that we're almost safe. Don't get me wrong, but Johnny, I think Dubravka being there, doesn't matter who our central defence are, just having him behind you is such a confidence boost for not just the team, the fans as well.
I was just going to say, I feel confident when I see him warm up. I'm like, oh god, and he's still there. He's still our number one. But yeah, he is very important for us. Like, I'm very similar to Sam. Darlow's not a bad goalkeeper at all. Does a job. Like I say, as a second choice Premier League goalkeeper, he's absolutely fine. First choice Championship goalkeeper, in my opinion. I think you could do a job for any Championship team in the future. But Martin Dubravka is that level above, and he is the first name on the team sheet, in my personal opinion. He's been our player of the season, in my personal opinion as well. Like, there's been so many games this season where you'll go, oh wow, he made some big saves. Sheffield United away comes straight to mind. There's obviously been a few home games where he's made some big crucial saves, and you just think, yeah, that's why you need him fit. So I agree. We'll probably just need one more win to keep us in this division, like Southampton did today. Got their win, and everyone's kind of saying, "Oh yeah, they're fine now." So one more win will be enough for us. But if Dubravka can play every game from now to the end of the season, Newcastle will gain more points than they lose, in my opinion.
I want to move on to the next topic, which you can see. Obviously, the game's live on Sky Sports, and if you don't have Sky Sports, it's on Pick TV. But it's in an empty stadium. Obviously, we've now seen the Bundesliga and the Premier League make crowd noise. Sam, what have you made of the crowd noise so far?
I don't like it.
Right.
It's just not for me. I mean, I kind of experimented and had both. Switched between both in the first half of the Sheffield United Villa game the other night, and the games I've watched today. I've stuck without crowd noise, and I much prefer it. And it also goes back to me selecting Matt Ritchie purely from a selfish point of view, because I want to hear him bark at other players on the pitch. I don't want to hear FIFA-inspired crowd noise, which is 3 seconds behind the actual play.
It's not FIFA, man.
I don't know what. Yeah, but I mean, all right, you're calling me out there, and I've not played FIFA for about 15 years. But, I'm going from what Owen was saying in the group chat earlier. So,
are you?
So, I mean, I want to hear. It's a rare opportunity to hear players on the pitch, to hear the coach's instructions, to hear commentators apologise for language. That's what I want to hear. It just sounds rubbish for me, and it's just on a delay. It does nothing for me.
What do you reckon about the crowd, though, Johnny? Because I think at St James's Park, it can in some. I know the atmosphere's been flat. Don't get me wrong at certain points, but is it a hindrance to her to have no crowd?
I think you can look at it both ways. Like, it seems like the bigger clubs that have, very good support. Like we were talking about with Villa the other day. Oh well, Villa don't have the Holt end, and everyone will be like, oh well, it might be a good thing because they might not get on their backs. It's the same with us, but I don't know. I personally think that I think we'll miss the crowd more than we'll not miss it, because regardless of what people say, we can be a 12th man. Even if it is against Sheffield United, for example, we can be a 12th man, and that can get us over the line. Like the Man City Cup game, we could have desperately needed 50-odd thousand Geordies in the ground, because that would have given us just that 1% more of a chance to beat arguably the second best team in the world. Then it does help. But I disagree with Sam. I think the crowd noise is all right. You can't really tell much of a difference in terms of the actual lag. Like there is a tiny bit of a lag, but not massive. It just, for me, without the noise, it just seems like you could watch it like going past your normal field, like in a pub game. So I don't know. It's to everybody's taste, you know. Like I won't criticize Sam for like not having it on, but for me, if I was in the same room watching them, I'd be like, right, as long as it wasn't Newcastle, I'd get that noise on. Come on, stop.
We've got UHD TVs though, haven't we, Sam? I mean, he's
here we go.
Right, let's go. Johnny will bring you back in a few minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah, no bother.
Right, thank you. Right, we're going to bring Stephen in. Stephen, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you very much for asking. Right, how is Sunday going then?
I fancy a 1-0 win Newcastle.
What makes you so confident?
I don't know. We'll be. I think we're unbeaten in the last 2 games. I fancy a win.
Well, when you say we're beating them the last 2 games, I mean it was what was 3 months ago. Man.
I know.
I want to quickly ask you how you think, first of all, Chris Wilder's done so far this season.
Yeah, he's done a good job. I think no one was expecting to do a decent job. You never know. He might get a top job in the future, I think.
What about Steve Bruce?
Yeah, I think he surprised everyone. I think I certainly didn't want him.
What about what we've been debating tonight? Who plays right back for you?
And
why?
I would say Manquillo. He just seems a bit more solid at the back. I would have said.
And who would play on the right hand side for you?
Well, I would say I would put Maximum on the right, and I would put Joe Linton on the left, and I put Amaron attacking mid, and I'll try Muto up front.
Really? What?
Interesting.
On his own?
Sorry?
Just on his own?
Yeah. Well, Amaron just behind him. Yeah, I'll give that a go.
Do you think he's disciplined enough to play that role?
Muto up front on his own. Yeah, I would certainly give it a shot. Yeah.
Okay.
After seeing him scoring in one of the friendlies, I would give it a shot. Yeah.
I want to touch upon, since I've got you as well, Matty's contract has been briefly extended by a month as well. I know he's probably not going to feature on Sunday because he's been ruled out, but is that positive?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
So Matty has signed a short-term contract extension. And is that a positive? Because if he was off, surely he wouldn't sign that.
Yeah. I'll agree with you there. I would say it's a slight positive. Yeah. I think it's probably because obviously with the season extending, I would say that's probably why. Hopefully he'll stay.
And what do you make of all the refunds for the season tickets as well?
Well, eventually, I would say. Well, I was meant to go to the Sheffield United game, but I bought one offline on someone on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, I got the money back straight away. But I've got family who got season tickets. And obviously, it's a relief. Like, it's about time, I think. Like, it's just disgusting. Disgusting, really, how it's been this late.
Yeah, we'll be talking loads more about like the past 7 days and tomorrow's Black and White show, which is about an hour long. It's a shorter version tomorrow because we're doing the preview tonight. Last question. Are we going to celebrate #Cans anytime soon?
I don't know. I've just seen on Twitter before, Greg
I've
seen
your tweet, aye.
Yeah, I think that's like, how the hell does he know? Aye, no. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm not confident now. Like,
where are you in terms of percentages?
I'd probably say about 30, 40 maybe.
That low?
Yeah, just because of how it's fizzled out. That's like, obviously I was confident about the last one last year. Obviously similar, obviously similar money, similar like circumstances. So I thought, I'm not too sure.
Cool.
As soon as I see like the owner with a black and white like scarf at the stadium, then I believe it. I think.
Cool. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for coming on. We're going to move on with a show. If you want to pop on Sunday, feel free to in my live show.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks for having us, Lars. Thank you.
No worries. Have a good night.
You too.
I'll just chip in, sorry, Lee, about Matty Longstaff.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Ryan Fraser at Bournemouth.
Yeah, he didn't want
no intention of signing the contract extension, and he's not playing again this season.
Yeah.
So he's done. So, it's got to be a positive, hasn't it?
Yeah, and speaking of Bournemouth, look who's just there, hovering around in the background. Who does he think he is? I mean, he's got a picture like Johnny. Where is he? Is he there? Hello?
It's the NFTV Peter Andre.
Oh dear! Don't even.
He's got Durham Wi-Fi. He's back up in the northeast.
Nice. Nah, I thought I'd just pop on and say hello. Do my thing.
I can't see you, but you look a bit like Casper the Ghost there. But yeah, we can hear you, Owen. It's all right. Bye. Nice to see you, Owen. Owen, are you coming on tomorrow's show, or what's the crack over the weekend?
Definitely. I'll probably be on the Black and White show tomorrow, and then the post-match show. I'll attempt to. Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Right. I'll let you go in the background. Owen's just having a spy what we're up to. The nosy bugger. Right, we'll bring Johnny in. Go on. Do you want to give him some stick then? Because Johnny, you like to give him it.
Do you know what it is? It's just amazing what you can do when you drive from all the way down south to Newcastle, isn't it?
So, because you might get a few people upset by saying stuff like that, Johnny. We've got a donation. We've got to read this out for Andrew Green. Thank you very much for your donation. Got a good feeling about this game. The formation looks good if it's the same what they've been using. So he agrees with us, Sam. So, yeah, are you positive, Sam?
Reasonably. I mean, I do have some concerns, which I did address before, regarding defending set pieces and the fact that Sheffield United have had a pipe opener and we don't start things well, because this is like a kind of start of a mini season and we always tend to start pretty slowly. So as we're going to come to predictions later, I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm reasonably confident, but not that confident.
Okay. Got my predictions in a moment. We've got about 10 minutes left of the show, and then we are wrapping up as well. The next question then is 5 substitutes. Is this a positive, Johnny? Or are you worried about who's actually on the bench, aka maybe a Christian Atsu?
In terms of Newcastle, I don't think it makes a massive difference, but when we play the likes of Manchester City or Liverpool or Tottenham, and you look at their bench and they can bring on, let's just say, we'll use Man City, for example. Let's say if Aguero's playing, you've got Jesus. If Sterling's not playing, you've got Sane. If David Silva's not playing, you could potentially have Bernardo Silva on the bench, Phil Foden. The list goes on. So when we play City in the Cup, that might be more difficult, or City in the league. Liverpool, again, they can bring the likes of Shaqiri, Origi, Minamino. The list goes on. In terms of Newcastle, I think early on it might benefit us for obviously players that aren't used to playing, say, 2 or 3 games a week. It gives them the option to, say, maybe play a full game and then 20 minutes, or in Andy Carroll's case, where you can see on your screen, maybe half an hour in one game, 15 minutes in the next game, and then the full game the next game after, just to kind of get them back into a bit of rhythm. But we kind of have to remember it's only 9-10 games roughly for us, so it's not going to be forever, but let's just see what happens with it. I don't think it'll be 5 substitutions from next season. I just think because of what we've been in the last few months, obviously with this pandemic, they needed to try and basically keep all parties happy and to try and get this Premier League season finished. And I think that's probably one of the things that will keep probably the bigger teams happy.
Yeah, Brandon sent in a message, and I'll do it in a Dutch accent just for him.
Oh, don't.
Better not then, because I know what Sam will do. Sam will make it into a meme and put it on my Facebook private chats. I won't. But yeah, you fancies Big Joe to get up and score. I I think I'll break a few remotes if that happens again. And we're going to wrap up with a few, predictions-wise. Sam, what is your prediction going into this weekend's game, and why?
So, I said to you before, my heart said 2-1 win, but my head has gone for a 1-1 draw. I just have a couple of concerns with us again with defending set pieces. Sheffield United, good solid unit, good solid team, not afraid of anything, of anyone. I just think we might have an odd error in us because we do start things slowly. So, and I don't think, I mean, there's no real home advantage, is there, anymore? Is there, really? Yeah, it'd be a nice surprise if we win, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I think these next two games are massive for us as well because they're winnable on paper. But no, I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
Football's not playing on paper, is it? Johnny, you've been a bit optimistic. 1-0 win, and why?
Football might not be played on paper, but if you're in League One, football's played on calculators if you're Sunderland mind. But anyway, in terms of this, I know, in terms of this game, no, I am a little bit optimistic. I think Sheffield United didn't wow me on Wednesday. I know it's completely different circumstances. I think they might start off better because obviously they've played a game a few days before, so they kind of get used to the surroundings of like no fans and being able to obviously think, well, it's 20 minutes and a water break. Can we keep in the game first 20 minutes, make it at our tempo, and then we'll see what we can do after that. But I think we can keep West. I was going to say West Ham now. I think we can keep Sheffield United quite quiet. If we can limit them to a few opportunities, and then maybe again nick one in the second half. It wouldn't surprise me if someone like Fernandes or Lascelles scores a header from a free kick or a corner, and we nick a win. But Sam's right. These next two games are huge. If Newcastle can get, say, 4 points from the first two games, right, there's your season done and dusted. Right, Man City, what can we do? Can we pull a shock, get the win in the FA Cup, and then who knows from there? But it's a big 10 days for Newcastle. And like we keep on saying this, when it's a normal season or with normal games on the horizon, but it's a big week. If Newcastle can get 4 points or even 3 points, it's not the end of the world. We'll still be safe. But if we say only get 1 point or don't get any points going into the Man City game, we're still probably looking over our shoulder a little bit. So one big win from the next two, then we can hopefully be celebrating all round. Hopefully we get #cans on the go. But be a 52 for them as well, by the way. But yeah, 1-0 for me. I'm gonna go with Lascelles header, 10 minutes from the end.
Yes, Brandon, fantastic. That's all you're getting, Brandon. And that is a wrap. Hopefully you have liked this new kind of live preview, bringing guests in. We're going to be doing it on Sunday. We're going to be bringing yous lot in. So if you want to come on to the show, have your say on the decisions, penalties, goals, tactical, whatever, come on board. If you haven't liked the video, please hit that. It's something new. We've just trialed this and put it all together in a short time. Tomorrow, if you're watching this, if you're watching the rerun, it might be later on today. The Black and White Show is back, and we're talking about the past 7 days, and there's been a bit actually off the field as well. So, lads, have you enjoyed it?
Of course. It's always good. Just can't wait for Sunday now.
Very much the same. It's been a long time since Newcastle played football, proper football anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully everybody's whoever's watching this is absolutely all fine. Hopefully all COVID-free. So, yeah.
Fingers crossed. Loads of videos on Sunday. They're all live, except from the last word. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.